Hurricanes, one of Mother Nature's most dangerous and destructive creations, with relentless winds, violent storm surges, and devastating floods. They are capable of wiping entire communities off the map in a matter of hours. 2005 was one of the worst hurricane seasons on record, led by Katrina, with an estimated $125 billion in damage to the United States Gulf Coast. And with the continuation of global warming trends, experts predict the instances of Category 3 and above hurricanes will continue to increase in the coming years. While experts and officials constantly stress being prepared for the storm, being prepared for the aftermath and rebuilding process is often overlooked.
When Hurricane Katrina struck my property in the New Orleans area, it did approximately $2.8 million in damage to my properties here in the New Orleans area.
With our 50 associations, we probably had 30 that had significant damage. I would say it would be in the neighborhood of $70 million.
You can see it on TV, and it looks bad enough, but when you actually see it, it's a whole different ball game.
All of our carports were in the middle of the streets, and trees were all over the streets. We couldn't get in and out.
There was extensive damage from the wind, and the roof of this particular building was lifted and came through. The county then made the building condemned 2 days later, so every unit owner had to leave this particular building.
We were under extreme stress because we had simply never seen a disaster of this magnitude before. Quite frankly, we didn't know which way to turn.
Your local workforce is scattered everywhere because they've had the same damage that the condominium associations have had. So to try and get together a workforce to be able to rebuild those associations, it's a huge, huge undertaking.
When they first hit the ground here at Points West, it was an awesome experience just to see the number of people that they brought and the equipment and most of all, I guess, the material to go ahead and secure these buildings and waterproof these buildings with tarps and stuff to save us from getting any more damage.
Paramount was able to bring the manpower that our local guys couldn't do, the resources immediately and quickly to the properties that our local guys couldn't do. And yet in many cases, I do know Paramount utilized some of our local vendors, so that was a big plus for our community.
Being a contractor from outside, I think we were skeptical. And then all of a sudden, we realized what a huge resource they were, and that whole perception turned around.
They had blue roofs on our buildings before I could sign a contract. You know, I didn't have to put any money down. I didn't have to come in and do a lot of things to prove to them that I was going to fulfill my end of the bargain. You know, it was a handshake and a word. And, you know, you don't find that. And you don't find that with companies that large.
He gave me a contract to sign. And I said, I can't sign the contract. It has to go to our legal department. And of course, there's no way to communicate, there's no way to fax or to email. And so we shook hands in the front of the parking lot and made an agreement. And that evening, they started bringing equipment and resources into the plant and actually started working the next day.
Everybody's looking for somebody to lead them through this. And when a Paramount representative comes and they can sit down and tell you about, this is what's going to happen, it's going to happen in this way, you're going to meet an insurance adjuster, these are the things we need to do, this is what we're going to do to get you through the governmental red tape, the building permits and those types of things, then they lead you through those other phases of reconstruction, and that's what we could have never done for our clients.
They take all that pain out of getting things back to normalcy.
Those first couple of weeks, daily, someone was coming to my office to give us an update on what was going on out at our properties, and they certainly were accessible to all of my managers and myself by phone.
I knew that they would make me look better to my own clients because I would have the answers that I needed when I went to board meetings or an owner would call and ask for an update on the properties.
And it made me look like the hero. I was the hero to all of these associations, and really Paramount was the hero.
Paramount has been on the property 24/7, which problems always would come on the weekends or late at night, but they always responded to those crises.
They have never failed to return my phone call. They have never dodged a question that I may have had. I was welcome on the job site. They invited me to come to the job site and inspect the work. They were prideful in the work that they were accomplishing on the properties.
And they're dealing with the insurance companies. It puts us at ease because they do such a wonderful job. I sort of step out of the way and just enjoy.
We at first hired our own estimators and engineers to do a damage assessment. The insurance company originally offered us something that just barely covered our deductibles, which is about $200,000, and we thought that was totally unfair. We have received now over $4.5 million, and we expect another $2.5 million before the job is done.
Our property managers were consumed with the inability to be able to timely meet with each of the adjusters on each of the properties. I mean, we were just stretched out. When Paramount got here to take over, it was such a relief to be able to hand it over to somebody that we really knew could take the bull by the horns and finish the project for us.
We will not have to wait for an insurance adjuster to come to the property. We won't have to wait for an engineer to come to the property. The property will be secured right away.
There's no substitute for experience in this business. Their expertise in filing these claims and working with the scope and providing the adjusters with the necessary information, it just expedited the entire process.
It's getting that money, being able to get through to the adjusters and get the money to the associations to be able to rebuild. And Paramount did an outstanding job in helping us get through that process.
Paramount handled all of the permitting process. I didn't have to address any permits. They have a special department that is what they do.
Paramount dealt with all county permitting, engineering, structural issues, and architectural issues that were required for the permitting.
One of our properties, which was on Bal Harbor Boulevard, the city had marked it with a red X, and literally had the National Guard guarding it to keep people out of it because they felt it was structurally unsafe due to the damages caused. Paramount brought in engineers on that and many others where there was the slightest bit of question to certify yes, it needed to be repaired, yes, it could be, and be structurally sound, or no, it couldn't.
With that big M-word mold these days, you just can't waste time. And that's one of the things with Paramount that we know is they are certified mold remediation specialists. They can get in there, they can analyze the situation, they can take care of what's needed so that that bad situation that you know you have up front doesn't get worse.
To be able to have someone with the expertise to be able to say, look, we know there's mildew back there and we'll be happy to pay for the destructive testing to demonstrate it, you know, if that's what's there, and in every case they've been able to demonstrate the point. So the association is really made whole just by having Paramount there to take a look at it.
Basically, Hurricane Katrina rendered me out of business. Paramount was very sensitive to this issue. The sooner they got these apartments back in business, back online, the sooner my business would be restored.
They understand from a management standpoint how important it is to get back up and running and be operational. So their speediness and quickness helped us with that.
After the job was finished, Paramount put a crew in Port Charlotte just for warranty work. And whenever we need something done that's remedial, and there have been some things small, they're immediately out on the job site and they take care of it.
There's always some warranty work, and it's a matter of just letting them know what it has to be, what has to be corrected or changed, or whether it's a material problem, whatever it might be, they take care of it.
The good side is we haven't had a lot of warranty work, but the issues that we have had, they've been very quick to respond to, very professional to deal with, and it's being done to our satisfaction.
They came back 3 years later as they were passing through town and took care of something for me. that was well out of warranty.
I was totally surprised with the entire process, from the simplicity of the contract to the quality of work to the supplies that were used. There was no shortcuts taken on doing the job the way that it should have been in an expert craftsmanship manner.
They get owner satisfaction certificates signed by every unit owner that's there, so that you don't end up having the project completed and someone coming back and saying, well, I'm not satisfied with what went on.
I can't tell you how many people in Lake Charles call me daily and say, I passed your complex and it looks wonderful.
There's a lot of contractors after a storm of this nature that wind up with code problems and licensing problems and all kind of other things, insurance problems. And they were in the papers all the time. I'm so happy to say, and I know our clients and our customers were happy, that Paramount's name never was on that list.
They became part of the community while they were here. They weren't just visitors to Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte, and that meant a lot to all of us.
These folks came in and helped the people move their belongings. And when you said thank you, they said, that's my job, and we're happy to help you. And you just don't hear that today in business today.
The residents fed them. They sort of took Paramount in as a family.
Most places even to taking out full-page ads thanking Paramount for the professionalism, the quality, the extra mile that they went.
They step up to the plate. They go over and above to help you with a little bit of extras. They don't do just enough to get by. I think they go the extra mile.
They have been over backwards for me. I don't know how else to say that I'm eternally grateful.
They're wonderful people. They're a team. They sincerely want to help the owners get back into their units. They're cooperative with the owners. They go above and beyond what they need to do to get the job done and get it done well.
Let me tell you something. When you got this much devastation in that many large properties and you've got millions and millions of dollars of damage, you're lucky to have somebody like Paramount to deal with them and then have people with the attitude that they have to working on your properties. It's like having your family work on your properties.
Overall sense working with Paramount is they're down to earth. They do make you feel like part of their family. They make you feel like part of their organization.
They're great people. In time, they became friends, more than just a contractor. They became friends that you'd like to know in the years to come.
Paramount is different from the competitors, I think, because they're family-owned. It's a very close-knit group, a very close-knit organization. Their character speaks for itself. When you're dealing with them, you can tell that their character and their commitment to perfection is above reproach.
One of the things that we have done since we've learned from the initial hurricanes is we've actually have contracts with Paramount prior to any catastrophic events. That way they can have the people on the site within a couple days' notice and have materials delivered and things like that typically we can't do locally.
I can say without a doubt we're ready for the hurricane season. We have agreements in place where we're not going to choose anybody else. We're not going to consider it. We've made our decision, we've had our experience, and we'll choose Paramount.
As soon as we know a hurricane is really brewing out there, we always check in, and believe it or not, we even have some presidents of the associations that call us and say, have you contacted Paramount yet? Are they on their way?
I would recommend Paramount solely on their honesty, on their professionalism, and their knowledge of this business.
You'd be lucky to find somebody as good as Paramount to handle this kind of crisis work.
Oh, I definitely recommend Paramount there. In fact, I've recommended it to some people in Lake Charles after Rita came because I believe in them.
We would recommend Paramount 100%. It's the only company we use now.
If another hurricane does come to Lake Charles, Louisiana, I will call them on my way out of town. I wouldn't even think of calling anyone else.
When we see the trucks roll in, let's say Paramount, I mean, it's a good feeling.
God forbid, if we ever had to have this happen again, Paramount is, I've got their 800 number in my cell phone.
I would encourage anyone that ever finds themselves in a disaster situation and they want confidence, and they want professionalism, and they want it done fairly as far as dealing with the insurance companies and dealing with them. You know, I could not recommend anybody but Paramount.
They know the business inside and out. Again, for anybody to try to go through damages from any catastrophic event without a company like Paramount would be doing themselves unjust.